The Lantern Post and the Man Beneath It. A horror novel. In the forgotten town of Harrow's Edge, tucked away between wind-battered hills and moss-drenched woods, there stood an old lantern post. It was no longer connected to any functioning power line, nor maintained by the local authorities who had long since abandoned the village's upkeep. Yet, every night at exactly midnight, the lantern would glow with a dull amber light, flickering faintly against the darkness like a dying heartbeat. Beneath it, always, stood a man. He never moved. He never spoke. He only stared, his shadowy figure still as stone, eyes hidden beneath the brim of a wide, soaked hat. Locals who still remained in the periphery of Harrow's Edge warned travelers not to approach the lantern. Children were told tales of the man beneath it to keep them inside after dusk. But it wasn't just folklore. People had gone missing. People who had ventured too close. It began decades ago, when Harrow's Edge was alive, populated with miners and lumber workers. The lantern was erected in 1923 beside the town's central square, near the well and general store. Back then, it was just a source of light in the fog-heavy nights. Until Elijah Maries came. Elijah was a quiet man, too quiet. He arrived in town wearing a black coat and carried nothing but a small suitcase and a letter of reference from a railway company that didn't exist. No one knew where he stayed. He would vanish during the day and appear at night, standing motionless beneath the lantern post. At first, the townsfolk assumed he was waiting for someone, a lost lover, perhaps. But as weeks passed, they noticed animals disappearing, crops wilting near the post, and a creeping chill that spread through the square. Children who dared stare too long at Elijah claimed his feet didn't touch the ground. One even said she saw his face change, become long and white with hollow eyes that stretched into nothingness. Then came the night of the first scream. Harold Stetson, the blacksmith, was walking home drunk after a late poker game. He passed the lantern. He stopped. The witnesses, those who peered through cracked shutters, said Harold walked up to the man and laughed. "Still waiting for your ghost bride?" he mocked. And then, a sound like metal tearing through flesh. A scream that gurgled into silence. When the townsfolk emerged the next morning, all that was left was Harold's hat and a trail of blood spiraling around the post like a red ribbon. The sheriff tried to investigate. He brought a team. They surrounded the post just before midnight. As the clock struck 12, the lantern flared. In its light, the man was not alone, shadows slithered out from beneath his feet. They reached up, wrapped around the sheriff's neck, and dragged him into the ground. The others fled. Harrow's Edge was never the same. Decades passed. The town faded, but the lantern remained. Travelers who wandered too deep into the woods sometimes found it. Some never returned. The ones who did, changed. They became silent, pale, and always looked behind them. Some drew strange symbols on their walls. Some took their own lives. All whispered about the man beneath the light. A paranormal investigator named Clara Vane heard the legends. She wasn't afraid of ghosts. She had a rational mind, hardened by science and years of debunking frauds. Harrow's Edge was her next target. She packed cameras, thermal detectors, and a journal. She arrived just before dusk. The town was empty. Grass grew through cracks in the pavement. Crows perched silently on rooftops. And there it was, the lantern post. A rusted, crooked thing with a glass bulb dulled by age. Clara set up camp in a nearby abandoned house. At 11:45, she began her equipment check. She aimed her infrared lens at the post. There was no one there. 11:58. The wind died. Not a leaf moved. The world felt held in breath. 11:59. The bulb of the lantern sparked. Once. Twice. Then, light. Clara stared through her lens. A figure stood beneath the post. He was real. She zoomed in. No features. Just darkness where a face should be. A silhouette in the shape of a man, taller than human, thinner than should be possible. She approached. 20 feet away. 10. The light grew brighter. Humming. Vibrating in the air like a swarm of flies. Clara raised her voice. "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head. "Closer now." 5 feet. She felt it, the cold. Not of winter, but of rot. Of bones unearthed. Of breath caught in dying lungs. Then he moved. Not walked, moved. One moment, he was beneath the lantern. The next, behind her. She spun. He was beside her now. Her camera snapped a photo on its own. She turned to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Her shadow twisted. It no longer mirrored her. From the black depths beneath the lantern, hands reached up. Whispers rose. Not in her ears, but in her skull. "Feed us! Feed us! Feed us!" She screamed as the earth opened. But the town heard nothing. When morning came, the post was silent. The lantern off. All that remained was Clara's camera, cracked on the stone, blinking with a single saved photo. It showed her, mouth wide, eyes gone white, being dragged down into the ground by countless arms of shadow. Now, it is said, when the lantern glows at midnight, 2 figures stand beneath it. One, tall and cloaked in endless black. The other, a woman with no eyes, silently screaming. And the town of Harrow's Edge waits, buried under moss and time, for the next soul to wander too close. So if you ever find yourself lost in the woods on a foggy night, and you see an old lantern glowing in the distance, do not approach it. For beneath that light waits something ancient. Something hungry. And it is always watching.